for people to start showing up. I actually have I have a subject in mind to discuss, and I'll start doing it as soon as people start showing up. Usually takes about 10 or 20 seconds for people to start showing up. So just, if you're watching this on a restream, just bear with me while I wait for people to come up live. I get questions all the time from new collectors about what I do and how I do it, and that they want to do it, but they want to do it right. They don't want to be misled. They don't want to run astray and look at the wrong stuff or the wrong way, or, you know, they want to go in with some confidence. And so I'm going to discuss a lot of basic pointers on what you're looking for in confidence that you are looking for what you should be looking for, and not running off like a wild goose chase. So I got two people in here now. Hello, Paul. And there's Otis. Hello, Otis. I'm actually pretty much straight south of where you are, Otis. I'm in East Tennessee now, south of Ohio somewhere. I've decided to do this live stream specifically so I can spend some time giving pointers for people who may be new, or for people who may have experience and want to hear it again, just in case they missed something when they were new, to give them an opportunity to be able to hear from someone who's been doing this for nearly 50 years explain exactly how he goes about doing what he does. I'm not saying this is unprecedented in any shape or form. There are other people who will do the same thing. They are all looking for the right way to do something. And I have a not necessarily young person collector, but a young collector, in the sense that there's someone who just started looking not too long ago and wanted some good pointers on how to do this properly. And here I am using talk to text in Messenger, trying to tell him things. And I said, you know what, this would probably just make a better live stream. This would probably just be better if I did it so that everyone could hear me. So if Trevor comes up and says hello in here, he knows that he is the inspiration for this particular video, and I want to thank him for inspiring me to be here and do this. But at the same time, I want to thank everyone else here too, because if you're on my channel and you are watching me, you're watching for the right reasons. You're not watching someone who's trying to make money on clickbait. You're not watching someone who likes to blow steam and hot air about stuff. I'm the type of person who only says what I say if I know what I'm talking about. And I'm rather convinced that I know what I'm talking about through having been able to do what I do in coins for nearly a decade, working for myself, and have been able to, with the love and trust of my beautiful wife, be able to do this more or less for a living. So here we are, and here we go. What do I do to search coins? What's the best way to search coins? Well, it doesn't matter what kind of coins you're searching. The best thing to do is get as many like pieces together as possible before you start searching them. If you're going through a jar full of loose pocket change, you look at a dime, you look at a quarter, you look at a penny, you look at a copper penny, you look at a zinc penny, you look at a shield penny, and you look at a nickel, and you look at all the different kinds of coins, your eyes are not going to adjust to looking at one thing and knowing exactly what that one thing is you're looking at. But if I stick a pile of 1985 D in front of me, pile of 1985 D Lincoln cents, it doesn't sealed bag, the same BU roll, or out of my pocket change that's been searched, or that's been sorted by date and mint, I'm going to have 1985 D in front of me, and that's all I'm thinking about. It's kind of like taking that sip of coffee and just kind of taking in a big deep breath, and you calm down and your brain starts thinking, okay, 1985D. This is what I have in front of me. This is what I'm doing. What do I know? Well, that's when you look on everybody's websites and in the books at 1985D. You look at the 85Ds that have been found. You look at the photos of the 85Ds that have been published. You kind of get a little feel for what's been found out there. But I want to caution you on this, and this is the number one thing I try to caution people on. You are not using what's in the book to gauge what you're looking for. It's the other way around. You're looking for everything with knowledge that you have seen certain things in the book and know a little better where to look and what to expect. But there's always that chance that you could find something no one has seen before. That's what discoveries are, and we make discoveries constantly. I've got thousands of them to my name. I do it because I don't look for what's in the book. I look for what's out there, and then I check to see if it's in the book. That's something that a lot of people don't seem to grasp at first. They think, oh, everything there is out there is published in the books. No, not true. The second thing is that when you do find something that you think is comparably odd, something that you think is different from the other coins of that date and mint that you've looked at so far today, that you think that you can somewhat beyond a reasonable doubt prove is interesting, that needs to be looked at, try to get good photographs of it. Try to get photographs that you can see obviously what's going on, and you are reasonably certain that anyone else should be able to see the same thing if they were to look at your photo. And when you do that, you can find a forum or somebody's email like mine to send the photograph to with a complete and full explanation of what you see. Don't count on anyone to read your mind or to look at the picture and notice what you noticed. You need to explain it to them very clearly what they are supposed to be looking for on your coin. And I don't know anyone who's been doing this for years and years who would not look at it and give you a response. The number one thing that keeps you from getting a decent response from a expert in the field is if you just send a picture, a grainy, out of focus picture of a coin that looks like you laid it on a scanner bed and sent me a picture of the whole scanner bed, and your question is, what do you think about this? Well, I don't think anything about it because I'm going to delete it. If you don't have the patience, the ability to explain, the ability to express yourself about what you found, I don't see it as important enough to look at. I only see it as important enough to look at if you're going to give me the patience of your time, so I will reciprocate with the patience of my time. That's how it works. That's how communication works. Communication doesn't work that you toss it in somebody's lap and walk away and expect them to know what you want. Let's see, the second thing, well, I've already gone through the first, second, third, fourth things. I'm just doing this out of brain and mind. If anybody has a specific question, I would love to hear your specific questions at this point so that I will know exactly what you want me to answer. Because the best education is a response. The best education isn't necessarily listening to someone blabber on about what they think you might want to hear. So the other thing that I do, and I want this to be something that's very clear to everyone here, this needs to be expressly clear. Hey, Eric, is if you are going through and you are finding things you think are oddball coins, you're going through and you're finding things that you think might be double dies, repunchment marks, whatever, and you've taken a picture of it, and you've sent it to someone like Eric, or someone like Frostbite, or someone like me, or someone like Paula Bloom, or any of the other people that you know out there that you trust, and they say, well, no, that's not actually a double die. That right there is die deterioration doubling, and here's how you can tell what it is. You need to catalog that, write it down, and stick it in your collection. If you just toss it back into change, the next time you find one, you won't have anything to compare it with. But if you have something in your own collection to compare it with, you can use that as your textbook of what not to keep. It makes a lot more sense that way. You get your education, you need to save your education, because if I teach you something today, who's going to say that in 10 months you're going to remember what I said? But you will if you write it down, catalog it, document it, and keep the coin. Then when you see something else and you post it on, my nose itches, I'm sorry. If you post it in a Facebook group or something and they say, that's die deterioration double, you're like, yeah, I found one of those a while back, and I don't remember who it was that took a look at it. Let me go look in my collection and my documentation and see what I can find. And if you've got some sort of order that you keep things in, you'll be able to go back and find that die deterioration doubling up here, compare that coin against the coin that you just found. You're giving yourself your own education. You're doing it the way we did it way back in the day, when we had to mail a coin and mail photographs and mail an explanation through snail mail to get it to somebody, for them to put it on their desk, eventually get to it, find it, do something with it, respond to you, and get the coin back to you. That was a very valuable piece of information that you would get back in that time. But we have become so disposable to our abilities to find information that we don't even think about keeping the information that we get. We just assume that we're going to remember it. Big mistake with coins. There's so many different things in coins that are very difficult to discern from one another unless you have examples sitting next to each other. That's something that Eric and I do all the time. We've got an RPM. We're trying to find out if that matches a die we already have. If not, we need to photograph it, get it listed, and know it so that next time we will be able to find it. What do we do with the coin? Of course, we mark what it is. We put it in a book. We put it someplace where we know we can find it again in case we need to use it to compare another coin against. If we didn't do that, we would always be chasing our tails. And that's exactly what you'll be doing if you don't make your own form of documentation of what you are told in your education about coins. So I implore you today, start a binder. Get yourself some 20 pocket pages in a 3-ring binder. Start keeping coins, write down on a sheet of paper or put it in a computer spreadsheet. Use some sort of documentation code for yourself. Coin number 1, coin number 2, coin number 3. Coin number 1 was on April 4th, 2024, and it was Eric who told me that this coin is machine doubling. Then you put that coin in a holder, you put it in your spreadsheet, or you put it in your put it in your album or whatever you're going to use to document the information, and start building a collection. And eventually you will have a piece of education that could be handed down to the next generation, could be sold to another collector. And this right there, that is going to put value in coins that we otherwise call valueless, because the coin itself has no value as a coin. But once it's been documented as to exactly what really is there, what caught your attention, whether or not it's valuable, whether or not it's considered valuable by the market, whether or not it's scarce or common, what it is exactly, all of that is going to put instant value in that particular coin because it's been documented. So those are some very important things. First thing, you're going to look at a bunch of coins, you sort them by denomination, date, and mint mark. You want to group things together as much as possible before you start looking. That way, when you start looking, your eyes don't have to dance around like a hummingbird in one thing to a different and try to remember stuff. I can't do that. I don't think anybody can. But if you have a pile of all one thing sitting in front of you and you're looking through that one pile, it's like taking that deep breath and being able to just start with one thing, know what you're looking for, know what you're looking at, and just go through it. The second thing is to research before you start going through that pile of things of that particular date, denomination, whatever, and know what it is that other people have found, what it is that other people have put into documentation about what those coins are, what they look like, what's going on with them. That way, as you go through the coins, you'll have a better chance of locating one that is like one that has already been found. But you will also know what has not been found yet, and if you find something that's odd, it's something that might be worth fronting to one of the people who document these sorts of things for everyone, and show them what you found and ask them if they think what you found is important, and go from there. Then your next thing is, regardless of whether the coin has been determined to be of value or not of value and why, you need to keep that coin and document what was said about that one coin. So you will always be able to use that one coin as a definite reference for what you are learning as you continue to learn. I'm going to take a little bit of a break from trying to explain stuff and just take questions, because I know a lot of people have been very quiet just because they're kind of waiting for me to say what they need to hear, and I'm not exactly sure what that would be. Probably better that I allow you just to ask the question and then I can answer it. I'm going to have to stop and get something to drink before too long because my mouth is getting pasty. And I'm already entering the Nashville area, so I have to wait till I get past Nashville because I don't like stopping in cities. Is there actually anybody here who has a question? I just answered your question. Well, where am I? Yeah, I'm, where am I? Lebanon, Tennessee. I'm probably about 30 miles east of Nashville. Be driving through Nashville for too long, and it's about 2 hours on to where I'm going from there. Okay, Corey has a question. Corey will ask his question. I'll do my very best to answer it. I don't have my Carmack hat on. I'm not going to be able to use my crystal ball. We'll just have to do the best we can with what we have here today. Me at 70 miles an hour down a highway, and you with your patience in your ears trying to understand what I'm blabbering about. A few things that are big mistakes with lessons learned. One of my biggest mistakes with lessons learned, and anyone who is experienced at dive varieties will tell you the same thing I will. Listen and heed what you're about to hear. You find a double die, you find an RPM, what do you do? Well, if you've definitely found a double die or an RPM, especially if you can match it up, I'm headed west. If you can match it up to something that's already listed, document it, write it down, put it in a holder, write on the holder what it is, and keep track of it in a box or a book or something. Do not stick it in a tube thinking, oh, I'll just finish going through this pile of stuff and then I'll go through the tube and identify all these. Here's what you'll end up with. And Eric, you can just laugh along and tell them I'm correct. You'll end up with 100 tubes of pennies someday that you don't know what to do with them because you don't have time to identify all of them, and you've been lost over all these years saving this stuff and have no idea what you've got, how many you've got, or what you're going to end up doing with them because you were too lazy to take care of it when you first got it. You were too excited to keep looking through coins to stop and do what needs to be done with proper documentation of what you're finding. Don't be like Eric. Don't be like Chuck. You want to go through and make sure that every coin that you have found and properly identified, you know exactly what you've got, and the ones that you don't know what you've got, you're going to find out very soon what you've got. You're going to find out very soon what you should do with them. You're either going to document them and put them in your book of the not good stuff or you're going to document them and put them with the good stuff. Either way, you have an education with a coin that you've asked about. There's Trevor. Trevor is the person who I was talking with earlier on Messenger using talk to text, trying to figure out exactly how to pronounce the words so that the phone would understand what I'm saying instead of just talking. And I'm trying to look at pictures, but I'm driving. And I wanted Trevor to get as much an opportunity to listen to the education that I'm giving everyone, because Trevor is actually the one who initially sparked me to do this show. So, Corey, what to do with 35 to 40 beautiful sealed plastic rolls, 60 P&D and 61 P&D and 170S, all full red MS64 plus, tons of errors. Okay, all right, so what to do with them is going to be highly predicated by what you want. Do you want the coins? Do you want the varieties, or do you want to sell them? Do you want to sell them as varieties, or do you want to sell them as something that someone can look through to find goodies? You know, are you trying to pass it on to someone else, or are you trying to take advantage of it yourself? Do you enjoy hunting rolls, or do you prefer to sell rolls that other people can hunt? All of those are really good that have to be answered before I can really tell you what to do with them. But I can tell you straight off the very beginning, straight off, when you said at the very end that there's tons of errors, I can tell you right now that an experienced listener is going to hear that and know that you are a beginner. They're going to know that because anyone who knows rolls of coins and have been coins in the past know that you're not going to find tons of errors in anything. Secondly, there's a difference between an error and a die variety. Double dies, repunch, mint marks, and things of that sort are die varieties, not errors. But that's a minuscule point that is for a different day. But what I'm trying to say here is that anything that is original source information is going to be something that you are not going to find a ton of. You will find one here and there, and that's about it. And that's about all you can expect out of any roll you buy from anyone that came from anywhere for any purpose. Now, with what Corey has asked, if you are interested in the die varieties, you may as well search all of them for the varieties. If you're interested in trying to find error coins, you may as well search all of them for the error coins. The amount that you would get back in selling them will not be what you can get in education for looking through them, and the possibility of what you might be able to pull out of them in value. You sell a 70S roll of Lincoln cents. If it's in a tube, you're likely to get less than $10 for the tube. If it's in an original sealed roll, you're likely to get $20 to $30 for it. Your chances of finding something of that much value in the roll are relatively small, but if you do, the education that you got from that is far more valuable than just selling the roll. So, yes, everything's a lottery ticket. Yes, there's a lot of losers, but you learn something from every loss, and they don't cost you much to begin with. Hello, Mr. McCumber. Let's see, next question. Is the 1982 penny without a mint mark worth a lot? Pam, no. 1982 Lincoln cents were minted in the billions. It's one of the highest production Lincoln cents in history. Even to this day, there were more 1982 Lincoln cents minted than most of what we mint today. They were minted with mint mark, D, and without mint mark, plain. Plains and Ds are very, very, very common. They just happened to change metal composition that year. They also just happened to change the design size that year. Now, if you take a P and a D and you give it a large or small date, and you give it a zinc or copper composition, you have a grand total of 8 different possibilities. One of those 8 possibilities was not officially minted. That would be the 1982D small date copper cent. They minted the zinc ones, they just never minted any copper ones. Except the couple that spilled over and were accidentally minted and accidentally found. And they go for a ton of money. But as I was explaining to Trevor this morning, you can go through millions and millions of coins looking for one of these before you find it. And if you do find it, after looking through millions and millions of coins to find it, the money that you will get back for it in sale will be less than a dime an hour compared to the time it takes you to find it. Finding those things is not a quest. Finding those things is something that you get and don't realize it until it just lands in your lap. It's not a quest to find those. Nobody can pay for their own time in looking for unicorns like that. Your chances of winning the Powerball 2 weeks in a row is better than finding one 1982D small date copper Lincoln cent. So there is not a lot of value in 99.9999% of the 1982 Lincoln cent you'll see. It's that 0.0001% that you find that'll have a little bit of value, that'll be worth anywhere between a couple of $100s and a couple of $1,000s. But it's going to take you forever and a lot and a lot and a lot of coins before you find it. Am I telling you not to look? No, look if you want to. You're saving me the time and effort. But I wouldn't ever do it. I personally, and I would love to own one, but I'm not going to go through the effort to find one. Next question. See, this is really strange. Back when I was just chit-chatting with people a couple hours ago, driving through the mountains, I lost connection like I expected to when I was going through tunnels and going through the valleys and the mountains. But I had up to 80 people watching at one time. 80 people at one time. And there was, very commonly I'd look up and there would be between 50 and 70 people. Right now, I have 13. I'm actually saying something educational. I'm saying something everybody needs to hear, and I've got less than a fifth of the people watching. I appreciate those of you who are. Any preferred auction house? Well, that kind of depends on for what. I'm not really sure what we're talking about. If you're looking for rare coins that have been certified, Heritage is probably one of the best places to go. If you're looking for buckets full of unsearched wheat pennies, good luck. Not very many places you can go for something like that, truly. If you're looking for reasonably priced, decent Lincoln cents that an expert has put together at a good price for you to buy, you can stay on this channel, and I run an auction every Tuesday night, except for this coming Tuesday. The auction this next week will probably be on Thursday or Friday to sell Lincolns. So you're looking to try to sell stuff. Let me just lay it out to you very honestly. You as a source for Lincolns would mean very little to most people. They would not necessarily trust what you're saying about anything you're selling because you are an unknown. Not that you're bad, not that you're good. They just don't know you. They may or may not buy from you. Your best way of handling something like that is to go to someone who has a name and have them sell the items for you. But it needs to be someone who deals in Lincoln cents. If you're selling Lincoln cents, someone who people trust, I can do that. Send me an email, contact me, we'll talk about it. If that isn't the right way to do it, we'll discuss it in private. But eBay or Facebook would probably be the best place to go. But you have to know what to document, how to document it, what photos to take, and what to tell people in order to attract them to be a buyer. So I can talk with you about what's the best thing to do, but until I know a lot about what I'm trying to tell you, it probably just needs to be reserved for another conversation. I think what I'm going to do, and this is it's probably not highly customary of me or anyone else. I'm going to pull off and I'm going to go through a drive-through while you guys are live, so I don't lose you, and so that I don't go away and you don't go away. But I've got to get something to drink, or I can't continue talking. Yeah, eBay is not the best place. Being that eBay isn't the best place. Now, Corey, I want to tell you this right away. My email address, cd@coppercoins.com. cd@coppercoins. Send me an email. Anyone here would tell you that I'm an honest person, and I very honestly. I'll tell you what you need to do or how you need to do it, and that's based on my own experience. If you choose not to take that advice, that's up to you, man. I'm good with it. But after I get a drink, I can continue on with my education. Right now, my voice is about to go away from me because it is pollen season, and while I am taking my Claritin, when I try to talk, pollen tends to get in the way. Let's see. What else can I explain that'll help you? Keeping things in order. That's probably one of the biggest lessons learned that I've had over the years that I've been doing this. I started this as a kid. I had no organization at all. A lot of people even today would call me a kid when it comes to organization. However, it's a lot better than it used to be. I'm learning to document things, to put things away the way they need to be put away so that I'll find them later. I'm going through bags, pouches, boxes, and stuff now, rediscovering things that I have put away 15, 20, 25 years ago, thinking I'd get to it next week, and never did. That discipline of being able to keep things organized is highly important in this forensic science we call a hobby. It's very important for you to keep things in line for yourself so that you understand what you're getting into and what you're coming up to next. Another thing is, it doesn't matter who it is. If you have someone who has experience with something, listening to what they have to offer and at least chewing on it in your brain and thinking about it is going to be better than if you had just shut them off to begin with. There are a lot of people, they get this high-class thought that because, well, I've published a book, or, well, I've got a channel on YouTube, well, I've got an account on eBay, makes them somehow better than someone else, and they don't have to listen to other people, is foolhardy. Anybody who has anything to offer me about anything that I'm trying to deal with, I will listen to it. I will take it to heart. And it will take me time to decide whether or not this person's advice is something I should listen to. But don't automatically dismiss it. There are people who have been into coins for 3 years who know more about one thing than I do. And I want to listen to it. I want to hear it. That's how an expert becomes an expert, by listening to the expertise of everyone. What's Blood yapping about? Blood's yapping about coin education. That's one of the most important things in this hobby, is your education, because you cannot partake in this hobby without education. Not knowing what you're doing and not knowing what you are doing properly and having listened is going to cost you in time, it's going to cost you in money, and it's eventually going to cost you. Just trust me when I say that. What's up, Malcolm? I am headed through Nashville, Tennessee right now on my way to Illinois to watch the clips on Monday. and I will be going live, if at all possible, during the eclipse on Monday, which totality happens right around 2 p.m., I think, Central Time. Education is definitely key, no matter what you're doing. Is this going to end up on IG Reels? I don't even know what IG Reels is, so probably no. Unless somebody wants to teach me what it is that I'm trying to do with IG Reels. That's probably one of the most sound pieces of advice I have ever received, is that my wife is calling me. I need to go and talk to my wife, so I'm going to take off here, answer my call, and I will get back on here soon after I get something to drink. I'll talk to you guys later.